good? What's good? What's good? Welcome to Out the Box TV, Out the Box Radio, Out the Box Talks, the whole nine.
What's
I'm your
happening?
host, Cril. What's up?
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Let's go, champ.
What's good? A-Level,
Go,
talk
champ.
to me, man. How you doing?
Yo, it's been a minute, man. Been a
Yo,
minute.
man.
A lot of great albums this year. Just been sitting in the cut with a lot of good music.
Word up, word up.
Happy with 2020.
Definitely, man. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Um, a lot happening, but our focus tonight is this rap album list that just was released yesterday for the 2021 Grammy Awards Best Rap Album Nominees. So we're going to be getting into this today. I'm so excited to build with you on this, A-Level.
Yes, sir.
What's good though, man? How's life treating you at this stage, man?
Life is a quarantine world right now.
Yes,
Pretty much the same as everybody else's.
that's
It's
accurate.
it's moving, but it's keeping still at the same
Indeed,
time.
indeed.
It's
Yeah, man.
full movement.
Yeah, man. I want to big ups to all the people out there that may be tuning in. Even if you're not tuning into our shows, via on a regular basis, I definitely appreciate you tuning in when you can. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot that we want to talk about tonight, man. I just want to kind of first say to all the people that's been checking out the Box Talks, the podcast. Definitely I want to appreciate you. The podcast airs every Friday. So there's a new show every Friday. It's on anchor.fm, it's on Spotify, it's on Google Podcasts. Where else? Stitcher, Overcast, wherever you generally listen to podcasts, that's kind of where you can find out the box talks, right? Occasionally we'll do out the box talk shows here on YouTube. So I saw the list yesterday of the 2020, really it's the 2021 Grammy Awards, but a lot of these albums came out in 2020. Pretty much all these albums came out in 2020, which is dope as well.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it was just needed for us to jump on and do a show, building on that. So I guess just to kind of start things off, man, like how did you feel about this list when you first saw it, A-Level?
Actually, you have a great feeling. This is the best feeling that I've had about a Grammy Awards nomination in a long time, because typically in the Grammys you don't really see this array of albums presented for an award.
Right.
These are pretty much very what you consider either gritty, credible, underground, somewhat independent type of material that's from left field. So these are not what you would consider your popular albums,
Right.
so to speak, or what we've come to know in rap music today in 2020 as what is popular. This is definitely a long tangent from that,
Yeah,
much needed tangent.
definitely.
You got
Much
it.
needed.
Yep.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. Like when I saw the list, I had to like stop for a second and be like, hold on, what am I looking at? Because every one of these albums to me are worthy. Like I won't be even upset with whoever wins.
Right.
I feel like every Grammy award that comes, and this is specifically for the rap album category, I feel like every Grammy award that has passed that I can recall, there's always like 3 to 4 nominees that I'm like, they
How
could have
did they
chose
get there?
somebody else.
Right, right, right. How did that get there?
Word.
How did that make it?
And this one, I'm like, oh shoot, they got it right for every artist that's on this list.
You said the key word. They got it
They got
right.
it right. Wow.
Finally, they got it right. You know,
So I just like when I saw it, I was like, man, there is so much to say about this. So let me first start by just saying this has been a crazy year to begin with, 2020. And as I was looking at the nominee list, and this is only for rap album, I'm gonna keep saying that because I have not really gotten a chance to look at all the other nominations.
hmm
Um, I'm assuming that the other nominations are kind of similar to what we usually get, but I haven't looked at it yet to really see it. Um, but I had to stop for a second. I was like, yo, I wonder if this is because of everything that's happening in 2020 as a result of the social unrest and the protests, right? The Black Lives Matter protests kind of heightening even more
the election.
the election. I'm looking at all of this because I've never seen this. 5 albums, you know what I'm saying? And every album is an album with substance. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
Did you have that same mindset when you saw that, or was that something you were thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, what else can you get from 2020 besides substance? Like
For real,
you can't help. This is a woke year that we're in right now. This is probably the best year for conscious material to take its highest stage, so to speak, and take notice because we're living in a conscious environment. You can't run away from this no matter where you go. You can't
right,
run away from racial injustice. You can't run away from the pandemic. You can't run away from the election. All of these things have a significant impact on our lives here. And of course, people are going to just still talk about the regular, oh, doing drugs and doing this and doing that. I'm going to the club and all this other stuff. But the things that's going to stand above that are topics that you would hear displayed on these albums like King's Disease and
right,
Allegory. Um, a lot of this stuff kind of really dropped almost even before the pandemic, really, before
right,
the nation fully went into quarantine back
right,
in March. So it's just interesting to know that, this is what came from that pressure cooker, so to speak. This
exactly,
was cooked up from the pressure cooker.
yeah,
These albums right here, and this is only five. I have plenty more, on the list that should have that could have easily made this category as well too. Uh,
right,
Arrested Development put out a dope album. You know,
absolutely,
um, quite a few guys.
yes.
Oh, Benny the Butcher's album.
Oh
Dope,
yeah,
dope.
which was the one you're talking about that's produced by Hit Boy, right?
Yeah. If there should be a category in the Grammys, hopefully it's a category. It probably is Producer of the Year. Hit Boy got it.
Wow,
Hit Boy got it.
I could dig it.
That's Producer of the Year. You know.
So let's talk about the list, right? Because we didn't even give the names of the list yet, and I was actually deliberately holding off on that. Let me do this. I want to try to get some more folks in the room, so I'm posting the link to for folks to tune in.
Are we opening up the phone lines too?
Yes, I'll definitely open up the phone lines. I got to connect my Bluetooth so that I could bring the phones in. So I'll do that. Just give me a second as we do that. So let me just say this. So out of the 5 albums that were nominated for best rap albums for the upcoming 2021 Grammy Awards,
hmm
we have Jay Electronica and Jay-Z's A Written Testimony, which
No, don't put the Jay Z spot, man. You gonna add controversy into that.
but he's on
Just
it.
say that's the problem with that, and that's what's throwing this whole thing off. You know what I mean? People keep putting Jay Z in there. It's Jay Electronica's album. Jay Z just happens to be on there. and we're gonna continue to get that album's gonna continue to the gravity of that is gonna continue to weigh the album and continue to um
Okay.
take the attention off, you know what I mean, of what it really is. But I mean,
I
it's
mean, for the record, I think you know what. Let's keep
because you don't
going.
see
I'll come back to
You don't
that.
see Jay-Z's name on there. You know what I mean?
Oh, his name is not on there.
No,
Okay. I personally don't think it takes away from like if he wins, I'm gonna be like J one. J Electronica one.
but you see
I
my
mean,
point, because this is what we've been arguing about the entire year, and people will be, oh, he did a whole album with Jay Z. Instead of looking at it for it to be a great album, oh, Jay
right,
Z
right.
washed him. Jay Z, Jay Z, Jay Z, Jay Z, Jay Z. You know, it kind of really takes
Yeah,
the
yeah.
shine away
All
from.
right, cool. For the sake of you, A-Level, I'll just say J Electronica's album, but I
Yeah,
get it. All right, so we got J
give that
Electronica's
man his
a
flowers,
written,
man.
huh?
Give that man his flowers, man. You
No,
know,
come on, you know I'm gonna give him his flowers. J Electronica's a written testimony. We have Nas's King's Disease album. We have Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist's Alfredo album. We have D Smoke's Black Habits album. And we have Royce the 5'9", the Allegory album. Now let's
boom.
look at when these albums actually came out, because I actually listed the dates. There's so much happening with this list, A-Level, that I was able to like
Well,
look at.
Allegory should definitely be the first one out of all of them.
Yeah, in terms of releases, right? Actually, hold on. No, D Smoke's album came out first.
Really?
Came out on February 7th, 2020. What I love about this list is that every album was released in 2020. And kind of that's what you expect for the upcoming Grammys. But you know, they have a cutoff time. So it could be that there are records that could have been released late 2019 that could have made this list. But what's dope is that every album nominated in this category is an album that was released in 2020. So we have D Smoke's album, which is the first album that came out, Black Habits. It was released on Woodworks Records, I believe, distributed by Empire. So this is an indie project, indie album, to the best of my knowledge. Then the next album that came out was, like you said, Royce the 5'9", the Allegory, released February 21st, 2020. I believe it was on E1 Records as well. Another kind of indie move, right?
Right. Then there should be written testimony after that.
Yes. Written testimony, March 13th, Rock Nation. Then, what do we have next? Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist, May 29th.
Alfredo.
ESGN Records, ALC Records. And then we skipped some months. Well, we actually skipped some months after J Electronica, and we jumped to May for Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist. And then we skip some months and we get Nas's King's Disease on August 21st.
Wow.
So it's a nice spread out. It's spread out nicely in terms of, I guess, when the releases came.
Digestion as well too. You know,
Yes,
you get a chance
no
to
time.
consume and sit with the music and hear it before you get hit with the next one.
Absolutely. So here's the other thing I thought about with these albums, right? Which is really interesting, A-Level. I don't know if you caught this. Each album represents a different coast or section of America. and it's diverse. So you have Nas straight up East Coast, New York, right? When I say album, I mean the artist, really.
Right.
You have Freddie Gibbs, who is from the Midwest. He is an Indiana native. You have Royce, who's somewhere there too, right? Detroit.
Right. Midwest.
Yeah, Midwest, Mid-East. I don't know how to. I usually I usually would look at the which is the craziest thing, how I would know like where someone is, whether they're on the east or the west. I would just look at basketball. I'd be like, oh, Detroit is an East Coast, is an Eastern team. So I'd be like, okay, they're on the Eastern section of the middle. But either way, that's representing that mid area, right?
Right.
Then we have Jay Electronica, who's from natively from where?
New Orleans.
The South.
From the NO.
And then we have D Smoke, who is from Inglewood, California. East, Midwest, West, and South.
Yeah, that's a real good point. That's good. I mean, you got all points of the compass.
Here's another thing I figured out. We are looking at different generations of hip hop. Now, every artist, I believe, is over 30 at least. So there's no young guys. And somebody made a post. I can't remember the individual, but the post was saying on IG that I guess they were giving the ages of every artist that's nominated in this category, and they're all over 30, stating that even though you're older, you can still make good music that's worthy of being recognized.
Yes.
Let's throw my clap song for that.
Preach.
That's real talk, right?
Yeah, man. Thank God for the fact that these albums have actually come out. That's made another good point that hip hop is not old, y'all. This is not an old man's young man's game.
Right.
And
I'm not finished though.
That's been the biggest thing.
I know I'm kind of hogging the mic so early, A-Level. So
All right,
forgive me, brother. I just want to get this off. And you got it after this, man. All right. So here's the other thing I was able to I guess gather from this particular list. Like I said, they represent different generations. Nas, I was gonna say Jay-Z. But all right, let's just go with Nas. Nas represents the golden era, right? That's the oldest generation, right? And if you want to throw Jay-Z in there, he represents that generation too, right?
Right.
And then who comes next?
From that whole era, Jay, whatchamacallit? You got J.E. and you got Royce.
Royce is next, right? Because to my knowledge, and you could tell me if this is different, you might know different than me. Royce comes on the scene when Eminem comes on the scene.
That's true.
Eminem comes on the scene late 90s, late 90s, probably 1999.
Yeah, around that time.
So Nas comes on the scene 93, 94 or 92?
92.
92, okay.
92.
You got
92,
late.
94.
Okay, then you got late into the 90s. We get Royce. The late 90s, going into 2000. Let's give him early 2000.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of say him and J.E. at the same time, because you have Royce. Yeah, he came out with Eminem in the late 90s, but his career really didn't start catching fire and taking off until early to mid 2000s.
Okay. I give him. And I'm really looking at when they started, right? For my point. So okay, then we got Jay Electronica, which we're saying is what, like 2007? 2006, 2007, 2008. I would give him those days, those years.
Mm-hmm.
It in terms of him getting into the, because the first time I started hearing about Jay Electronica is around the time when the Rock the Bells concert was really popping.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that's like 2008. I think so. 2008, 2009.
It's 2007 when Exhibit C dropped.
Oh shoot. All right, so so you give it that span, 2007 to 2009, right? So like you see how we're looking at different generations, right? Maybe not too far apart, but it's going up the ladder. You know what I'm saying? Then we have, so you got Jay Electronica. We got Nas, Royce, Jay Electronica. And then we get Freddie Gibbs after that. Which I think this is the Kendrick Lamar era. This is the Kendrick Lamar era. Because Gibbs was on the cover of the Freshman XXL cover. And I think this was around the time K. Dot was on that cover. If he wasn't on the same cover with him in that year, he was probably the next year. But it's in that time frame. K. Dot doesn't come on the scene until well after Jay Electronica.
And what year was that year that we interviewed K. Dot? That was at the
This was
at BB King's.
Well, we did capture some footage of him at BB King's, yes. And that was around the Freshman XXL time. But then got a chance to interview him, I think probably a year or two later, maybe a year later in Brooklyn. And that interview is up on Out the Box TV on this channel if you guys haven't gotten a chance to see the interview I did with Kendrick Lamar. Also, we did an interview with Jay Electronica as well.
Did you interview him in Brooklyn?
Well, remember, we recorded him. We recorded some of his show in BB King's. We didn't get a chance to interview him then. I was able to interview him in Southpaw in Brooklyn, maybe like a year or two after that.
Yeah.
I got an interesting story about that too. Like, I think my goal was to interview. No. I did have it planned to interview K. Dot. I think he did a show that was sold out in Southpaw in Brooklyn. I don't even know if this venue is still open.
So we didn't do anything other than just get B-roll footage of him shooting.
Yeah, we only got B-roll. We were supposed to interview Big Crit backstage that day, but it never happened. It never happened.
Okay.
And then eventually I was able to get the Kendrick Lamar interview. So I'm not sure what year that could be, 2010, 2011. I'm not sure. I got to go back. But I know it comes after Jay Electronica. And the reason why I know this because I kind of know what I was doing at the time, where I was working at the time when Jay Electronica came on the scene. And when Kendrick came on the scene, I wasn't working. I was out of a job. And for folks listening, if you've seen a number of our TV shows, your boy was able to do those shows mainly because I wasn't working. I had the time. So yeah, so then we got K. Dot, and then so that's that Freddie Gibbs era. And then I want to say it's a big jump from like maybe 2010 all the way to 2019, 2020, and we get D-Smoke. So there are some big leaps, but at the end of the day, I'm just saying that to highlight that this Grammy nomination for the best rap album for 2021's Grammy Awards, it encompasses not a bunch of people from the same era. Right. It is an extremely diverse list. And what's also dope about it, you know how we always talk about, we want balance, right?
Right.
This to me is real balance, because this is balance with quality still intact. You could have balance and be like, you could have some whack stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like every album on this list has substance to it. Like you were saying earlier, 2020, what else is there to get but substance? I think the music is reflecting that. So I just wanted to share that, man. Um, any thoughts about that?
You said a mouthful. I
Yeah.
mean, this is pretty much what we're doing right now. I mean, 20 these albums, man. Like I would never. And honestly, I was at a point where I was really pretty much kind of giving up on rap. I was giving up on hip hop because you know, like you stated earlier, I want a balance.
Yeah.
I just don't want to hear a 99% of foolishness all day. You know what I'm saying? And 1% dope stuff. You know that was the ratio that I was dealing with that I just got tired of after a while.
Right.
So, but I'm glad to say that you know people have proved me wrong and just just demonstrated that there is still some stellar material out there. I got that from Jay Electronica's written testimony. I got that from the Allegory. I
Mm-hmm.
got that from King's Disease. I mean, I'm so hard on Nas, but I'm so hard on Nas because I know he has the potential to do so much better than what he's done. And when he's in those moments like King's Disease, he's right in his pocket, and I want to see him win.
Mm-hmm.
Alfredo, I have just now, recently been able to really get into that, and I'm loving what I'm hearing. I can't really make a complete judgment yet to say where it stands on all of the albums on my list, but
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely up there. I'm a big, huge fan of Alchemist. He's one of those producers that like still has dusty fingers.
Yes.
He's a
Real talk.
dusty finger producer that still stays deep within the tradition of crate digging. You know, he's from that school of Primo and all of these guys, and for him to be able to make a record that stands out on this level, a
Mhm.
Grammy, wow,
Yo, to think that
that's amazing.
Alchemist.
I've been riding with Alchemist for a minute. I'm talking about when he started out with the Soul Assassins and going into the whole Mob Deep and really showcasing his skills, man. And I think one of the greatest things about Alchemist is his ability to hear samples. Like his sample game is crazy. Like he's able to hear stuff, chop it and put it into a record, and you probably would never hear majority of his record. The average listener wouldn't hear all of this stuff, and he's created a sound.
Real talk.
He's created that whole L.A. vibe, indie hip hop. I mean, him and Madlib. You know what I'm saying? Like they have that whole sound there. I mean, honestly, a lot of the stuff that you've heard, from Griseldas and your and your Rock Marcy's, have all come from what Alchemist started. You
Mm-hmm.
know, because of course they've all collaborated with him at some point in their careers.
Mm-hmm.
Still are right now. Um, I haven't yet gotten to a D Smoke. There's just so much material
Yeah.
to get to right now. And like I said, I'm not one of those people that I just can't listen to an album and just after a week go to the next album, after a week go to the next album. You know, I like to sit with the music, and I'm looking forward to D Smoke and see what he has.
Yes. I mean, the year is still, I mean, pretty much the year is coming to a close. What am I saying?
Yeah,
Well, within, I guess the full month that we have less, I think this might be a good time to check out at least these, all of these albums here. I have listened to every album. Probably D Smoke's album is the one that I haven't listened to like from beginning to end. But I got a good grasp of what that album represents. Um, I really like this list also because it speaks to different aspects of quality hip hop. And what I mean is that, you know how you were talking about the Griselda sound?
Mhm.
That's that whole Alchemist sound, right?
Exactly.
And to me, Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist getting nominated for Rap Album of the Year, to me, is representing for that sound. It's representing for the Rock Marciano sound, that whole Griselda sound.
I think this is a huge win for indie hip hop.
Oh yeah,
This
all the way.
Grammy nomination is just indie underground hip hop all the way wins across the board, no matter
Right.
how you want to look at it, and which provides hope. There's a great deal of hope, for the game to continue to make strides in these areas, and
Right.
kind of encourage people who may have not been encouraged to kind of pursue or practice that style of hip hop before. Is to pay more attention to it now that it's on this platform and that it's on this level. And that's
Mhm.
what I feel is dope about it. Shouts to whoever sat on the Grammy board this year and decided these nominations,
Word.
for best rap album.
I'm trying to figure that out,
I,
man.
I'd love to find out who was sitting on the board.
I'm trying to figure that out, man. This is amazing. So go ahead. You was gonna say something?
I think another dope thing, what I love about Alfredo, I'm getting more into it, is the features. I mean, it's a star-studded feature, throughout the album. I mean, you got Benny, you got Conway, you got Rick Ross.
The Kanye,
All
the
Mhm.
Kanye feature on there is that Babies and Fools track.
Wow.
Soon as I heard it, I mean, but I've been checking for Freddie. I think Freddie really brought me into his music world when he released the first record, the first album with Madlib. That's when I was like, oh, he could take it. He has the ability to take it certain places. To me, it's the most street gangster album out of all of them, but it still has substance.
Hmm.
And I think it's really dope that they included that project. Very soulful. I mean, it's straight up Alchemist. So if you like what you get from Alchemist, this album works. One of the things Alchemist said, though, I think it was on his Twitter, I think he thanked Madlib for opening the door, I guess, to be able to work with Gibbs, which I thought was really cool because, this sound, this how do you how would you consider the Alchemist Madlib sound? That's a special kind of sound. The that's
It's
coming out of the
That's coming from the indie Cali indie hip hop scene. You
right.
know,
Yeah,
it's that soulful, dusty Cali sound.
that's
You
right.
know, that's what you get.
That's
This is what I'm loving about it. And Rick Ross has just demonstrated to me. I think he's the best beat selector in the game. You know,
right. Word.
the best beat selector in the game because he rhymes over those type of beats on a major level.
For real.
On a major level.
Every record this guy that I can recall hearing this guy on. Maybe not every record, but the majority of the records, even the Buster record, he's always on a very soulful beat and he knows how to ride the beat. He knows how to complement, you know, the beat with his vocals. So, yeah, Rick Ross does a great job at sinking in. Yeah.
the track that he's on with Alchemist, wow, that's another great track. You know,
Yeah.
another great track. I was just amazed, like you said. I mean, there's hope to see these kind of features and someone from the Grammys and saying, "Wow, let's put this up there.
Yeah.
This is a great album." It's just so much more hope now. There's no excuse to do lackluster stuff and say, "Oh, people are not going to be into this. Nobody's going to be feeling this. Nobody's going to be digging this. People in the mainstream don't want to hear that."
Yeah.
That's not true. That's not true.
I agree.
You know.
I totally agree. So here's the other thing. I guess I wanted to pose this question. First of all, shout out to brother Funk Doc and J Red, who usually are
Yeah.
with us on the panel, but due to the last minute, they weren't able to make it. But we do appreciate you all still whenever you guys can make it. Big ups to you as well, A-Level, for always, you know, making yourself available, man. Appreciate that.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna open up the phone lines a little bit if anyone wants to call in, but let me do this. I want to say this. Let me ask you this, A-Level.
Mhm.
Out of these 5 albums in the best rap album category for the upcoming Grammys, which album do you think is most worthy to take home the award?
Um, Out of all of them,
Not the one that you think is likely going to take it, but the one that you feel is really deserving of the award.
you ask my opinion on it.
Yeah,
For me, I'm gonna say written testimony.
I think that's a good choice.
I'm gonna say written testimony. It's a work of art. It's art. It's not just a rap album. He went somewhere else on this album. You know, in terms of how the album is put together, from intro to first track, from start to finish, throughout it, the songs don't necessarily just end as soon as the verse ends and end as soon as the chorus ends. It just kind of just seamlessly goes into the next track, and it gives you time for you to actually really sit and be entertained by the music and really get it.
I could dig
it,
that.
it creates a vibe. I got a vibe from this album. you know by the time you get to ADPITA, I got numbers in my phone that'll never ring again. you know that's a great way to close the album out too. you know and like I said, it also speaks to what's happening right now. People dying from this virus, people dying from racial injustice, acts of racial injustice. you know I got numbers in my phone that'll never ring again. And what's crazy about this album is that all of that stuff came out. This was released before a real, um how should I say, before it became that fierce or that thick with all of this stuff happening. I mean, it's always been happening, right? But this album was actually kind of ahead of the game already. Um, if that album wouldn't didn't win, I wouldn't be mad if King's Disease won. You know, I give
Yeah,
it to written testimony or King's Disease as the walkaways. You know,
yeah.
for the award. What
It's really difficult for me to choose between those two albums. And I have my reasons for either one of them taking home the award.
Mhm.
In terms of the sound and the record that I like more overall, I'm only talking about Nas and J Electronica.
Mhm.
I would agree with you. I think J Electronica should win. But I'm at odds because Nas, to my knowledge, has never won an album of the year for the Grammys.
Right.
A lot of artists have never done that. And
True.
I think just off of that alone, and that this album is to me just as good as Jay Electronica's album, even though I said it's the album I like better. But I think it's just as good. It's so hard to make a decision. But I'd be okay with whoever wins out of the two. I'd actually be okay with whoever wins out of the five, to be
Me
quite
too.
honest with you.
Me too. Yeah.
But I think those are the two albums that I think should take it. Either one of those two. My personal liking is I like Jay Electronica's record a little bit better than Nas's own, but I also would like Nas to win because I feel like it's such a good album and he's due for that.
Which it's interesting is another point I would like to mention on Jay Electronica's album, and I believe on Nas's album King's Disease, you have Hit Boy working on both of those records.
Mm.
Hit Boy worked on both of those records.
Oh, he had production on Jay's album too?
Yep.
I didn't realize that.
Um, let's see, what's the track? The
Shout out
Blinding.
to Hit Boy.
The Blinding.
Mm.
The Blinding featuring Travis Scott.
Okay.
You'll hear it when you go into the second part of the second movement of the song. You'll say "Hit Boy," you know,
Okay. Dope.
and also Alchemist produced on this album as well too.
He did.
The Never Ending Story. That's the Alchemist track.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember the Alchemist shout. Yeah.
So it's interesting that you have several producers that produced on several different albums of the albums that are in this category.
Mm.
From Alfredo to Written Testimony to King's Disease.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Who do you think is likely gonna win?
I would say most likely that's gonna win. Probably King's Disease. I would say Nas is King's Disease based on what it is that you mentioned. Um,
I agree with that.
Nas had a great year. He's never won in this category before. He's a legend. He's an OG. Um, and they're he's due his flowers. They're gonna give him his flowers. You know,
I agree with that. I think
especially
he's
this
likely to
this
win.
album came out of nowhere. You know, wasn't highly promoted or publicized, and it made such a big splash upon. I'm telling you, I literally hear everybody playing this album.
Yeah.
You listen to it, you can hear it in people's cars. When I go to the park, and guys on the basketball court, you hear them playing it. Young people playing it. That's what's amazing. You know,
Yes.
when the young people actually are gravitating to it and they're latching on to it, that's a great thing. And then I think he's made a deep connection, with regards to bridging the generation gap on his album.
Absolutely.
I think it's a pick that everyone wouldn't be mad at. You know, me personally, I mean, I would go Written Testimony, but there's that little tinge of what we mentioned earlier, that that whole Jay-Z thing that people are just kind of still constantly go at. Well, I think that's from a popular standpoint in terms of people's opinion.
Hmm.
But you know, King's Disease came with no hype and no frills. It was just straight up. You know,
Dig it. So let me ask you this other question. Who do you think is likely to surprise us with a win? Because the Grammys has a way sometimes of hitting you with a curveball. And it might be somebody that you didn't think was gonna take it over the other artists.
Honestly, D Smoke, and I wouldn't be surprised if Royce wins for the Allegory as well too. I wouldn't be surprised.
Really?
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised.
So I like that you named those two, right? Because I think the likely surprise is gonna be D Smoke. The unlikely surprise is gonna be Royce or Freddie Gibbs
Mm.
and Alchemist. So I could see reasons why D Smoke could win. He was on that Netflix show, Rhythm and Flow, and won. I think it was like like a contest, like a performance contest where he was able to beat out a number of contestants. His sound, I don't know how much you've heard Black Habits, but it's very similar to that Kendrick Lamar sound. Um, it's very soulful, but it has that West Coast, that 2000 West Coast sound to it. That whole TDE type sound, Kendrick Lamar, that group, their collective, that it has that kind of sound, that aesthetic to it. And his music is extremely thought provoking, right? Like his album cover has his family on the cover. His brother, Sir, is a singer who is signed to TDE Records. He's down with TDE Records. So like his music, and I mean, I believe he also grew up in music as well. I think he plays either the piano or some instrument. So the brother's a musical brother. And if you listen to the Black Habits album, it has themes that are very thought provoking, that I believe is relatable to the Black struggle, the Black family. It's a very thought provoking album. And I just feel like his music, given the times that we're living in now, this could be the one that likely surprises us. Do I think it's gonna win? I don't think it's gonna win, but I could see a likely surprise. So I agree with you when you brought him up.
Yeah, but then again, I'll be happy with any of these albums that win.
Yeah, I'd be happy with either. Yeah,
I think
like I said, this is
I
this
think
is
they
the first one.
I think they all won already, in my opinion, personally. For the fact that they've
Absolutely,
all been nominated, that's a win for hip hop. That's a win for dope hip hop. You know.
absolutely. I totally agree with you. I'm just putting these questions out just to
Hmm.
spark some conversation around the topic.
Right.
But I totally agree. I think every album is a solid, well done album. And like I said, A-Level, I cannot remember a Grammy list specifically for best rap albums that has been like this.
I can't think of any Grammys ever,
That's what I'm saying.
ever, ever that has been, with these nominations. Because you normally pick, say, okay, I get why they chose that. I get that. Yeah, it's a popular album. It's charting high. It sold a lot of records. So yeah.
And it's so balanced, right? Like we're talking about Jay Electronica featuring Jay-Z with, and this to me is like the big record. This is the one that's like, this is the well engineered record. This is that, how they say, like, you got blockbuster films.
Hmm.
This is the blockbuster record to me on this list, right?
Yep.
In terms of its sound, the sound is just large, powerful sound, right? Then we got the Nas record, which really, to me, even though it has an it has like a updated sound in terms of, you know, getting the new, you know, the new generation to vibe with it, it still is rooted in that 90s soulful sound that we've came up on. You know what I'm saying? And then we have the Royce album, which to me, it just can't get any more lyrical than that. Like, if you listen to that album, it's lyrical. It's for those.
With a central theme on consciousness. This is probably the most conscious effort that Royce has dropped in his entire career. You know, where he's talking about very heavy and social content throughout the album.
Yeah. The Book of Ryan was really good too. I felt like
Yeah,
Book of
Book
Ryan
of
could have
Ryan
been
was great.
worthy too. Yeah, it could have been worthy too.
Book
In
of
fact,
Ryan was more of a personal album, you
yeah,
know.
absolutely, absolutely.
But you know,
This-
this was the first album when I've actually heard Royce's opinions about how he feels about the black man's plight and this and that, and I'm like, wow, I've never heard Royce really go in from that perspective, you know. So I'm like, wow, okay,
Right.
there's a whole nother layer to him that's there, and he's unlocked that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm trying to set up the to see if I could open up the phone lines. But let me do this. Yeah, I think I'll be good to go. Just give me 1 second. So, yes, I agree. Let's throw up the phone lines. Let's see if we can get folks to call in. Um, if anybody wants to call in, this is a good time. The number is 718-509-9305. We are talking about the rap albums, or the hip hop albums. I rather say hip hop albums that were nominated in the best hip hop or rap album category for the upcoming Grammys 2021. Me and A-Level felt like the Grammys got it right this time. We
Hmm.
have never seen such an accurate list, such a solid quality list. I'm hoping that this sets off an opportunity for us to see more of this, not just within the Grammys, but within recognition of other platforms, whether it be the BT Awards or whatever award shows have rap album categories. I'm hoping that we can see more of this, and this sets the tone. And this isn't just like a 1 year thing.
Right. I hope this inspires people. I hope it stimulates attention for people to understand and have confidence to know that it's okay for you to be original. It's okay for you to be different. And I think hip hop has gotten so far away, at least from a mainstream standpoint, has gotten so far away from being able to risks,
Absolutely.
take risks. Some of the greatest hip hop albums ever made were made because dudes took risks to take your brainwave length to the next level. They took
Yeah.
risks. They took risks on Illmatic. You know, Ready to Die. They took risks. You know, when Puffy sat down to executive produce that with Big, you know, he wanted to do something different. He didn't want, you know, Biggie, you know, just to be an East Coast artist that had dope flow, dope beats, dope rhymes, but he kind of took a page out of what Dr. Dre did on the Chronic and what he was doing with Snoop. And I want Big to be that first East Coast premier artist that's going to be a platinum selling artist, but I'm going to take a risk and make him give him that kind of West Coast vibe, that G Funk type of vibe that was so big at the time, and but do it on the East Coast level. So he could have that could have nosedive. It took risks.
Absolutely.
Takes a Nation of Millions took risks. Wu Tang entered the 36 Chambers. It was new. They took risks. They could have stayed with the status quo and went somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's what I miss about the genre. You know, um, guys really willing to put their money where their mouth is. I mean, everyone can do what a label is telling you to do and make a record that sounds like what this dude just put out. But I really hope that this influences labels, influences record label execs and A&R execs. Start thinking out the box, pun intended. Start
Word.
thinking outside of the box and give people what they really deserve. And that's something to inspire them for a lifetime, not just to stack your pockets with, record sales of how much streams that you could possibly get. I don't even know how stuff is even counted nowadays, but you know, these are we can even take it outside of hip hop. We could take it to Ray Charles, right? Take it to Ray Charles. Soul music probably wouldn't even be what it is today had it not been for guys like him.
Real talk.
He, he took what was happening in gospel and mixed it with R&B, and that was the worst thing ever. I mean, he was literally chastised and ridiculed for doing that, but he went in a different direction, and he got and the labels, they followed his lead because they had faith in what he was doing.
Hmm.
ABC Records, it was a major label. This guy wants to do covers of country western songs, but he
Wow.
but he took it somewhere else. I want to take this music and I'm gonna go somewhere else with it. Music has gotten so far away from that. Music doesn't take any risks anymore.
Yeah.
And like I said, salute to Nas. I'm proud of Nas. And thank God we got people like Hit Boy in the mix where he can literally fit anybody's pocket.
Mhm.
He can cookie cut around. He doesn't. He can allow you to be you without you having to compromise you. People can see
Yeah.
the beauty in you. You know, he did that with Benny the Butcher. He did that with Nas. He did that with Jay Elect. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. That this guy is a chameleon.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see producers getting their just due too. Like to me, as much as this is Freddie Gibbs as the MC on the record, this is a big deal for Alchemist too, because he's been grinding for years and just sticking to his thing, right? Like Alchemist does what he does best.
Get that
I
right.
don't see Alchemist switching things up. And it's also to me a testament to just keeping it true to self. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like doing that sound and not switching up, just sticking
Yes.
with that. You know what I mean?
Yes. That's another great point about these nominations. These are artists that have stayed true to themselves no matter what,
Right.
especially J Electronica.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
even if you want to make the argument that Nas has, done other things in his career, this particular record to me is being true to Nas's what he's about. You know what
this
I'm
is
saying?
Nas in his bag.
Yeah. I like that.
This particular album, Nas was in his bag. And this is what I love about Nas. This is what I appreciate about Nas, admire about Nas. I'm a fan of him being in his bag because when he's in his bag, he can take you wherever you want to go.
Absolutely.
Wherever you want to go. I just come across social media is just great. You get to see all these old clips of old videos and stuff like that. This is the first time I've ever saw the uh, unauthorized documentary of Rakim,
Oh wow.
unauthorized biography of Rakim video. That was just, I mean, it's one thing to hear it, but to actually see the video, and you see these old clips of Eric B and Rakim walking around, and from the paid in full, from the I Ain't No Joke videos, and from the In the Ghetto videos, them walking around and him talking about this guy. You know, I was like, wow.
Wow.
That just reminded me of the brilliance of Nas, where he can actually pay homage to someone like that and really take someone to school about who Rakim is. I mean, people probably hear about Rakim all the time, right? But he just kind of said it for you, like it's an encyclopedia book in a library. You wanna learn about Rakim? Here, pull this out.
Absolutely.
You know, and you'll get it makes you want to go learn about him. It makes you want to go listen to. He did his whole discography at the end.
Wow.
He did his whole discography at the end. His records are was it Eric B and Rakim? They did Paid in Full, Follow the Leader, um, Let the Rhythm Hit Him, Don't Sweat the Technique. He even listed all of his solo efforts
Nice.
down to the album that
I
never,
gotta I gotta check that out. I ain't checked that out. That's
the
yeah.
unauthorized biography of Rakim by Nas. You know,
Dope, dope. Yeah, man. Like I said, man, this is a very diverse list. You got Royce, who just does what he does, right? Like he's known for spitting. And over the years, to me, Royce has mastered the art of making albums because he puts that his last two albums, the Allegory and the Book of Ryan, it's conceptual. And I love conceptual albums. And his conceptual albums are actually very relatable too. So that to me wins just for the approach. And the other thing about the Allegory is it's very dense. You have to really listen. He's saying a lot. It might be the longest album, I think, in this out of everything on this list.
22 tracks.
See what I'm saying? And
22 tracks.
and there's a lot of lyrics in a number of those tracks. There's also skits too, which also I think makes the album. The skits
Yeah.
really makes this album. When I think about it, I think it might be the one album on this list that really has a lot of skits. Another dope thing, right? Like we talk about albums that we really enjoy, and a lot of those albums that we don't hear that much as much anymore is like those conceptual albums.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a conceptual album on the list.
Yep.
I was listening to the first track on this album, and I literally had to listen to it because this is the one album on this list. Well, no, I think I did it for J Electronica as well. But this album, I actually listened to this album word for word, lyric for lyric. I mean, like I pulled up the Genius website and I looked at the lyrics, and I made sure I understood as much as I could, lyric for lyric. And it took me a long time to listen through this entire album. So that's why I say it's dense. It's very heavy with lyrics. But when you take the time to listen, you will peel back some stuff and you're like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like that first track alone, he says something towards the end of the track where he talks about this whole allegory theme.
Exactly.
He references a story. And
That
it's
allegory.
amazing. Yeah. it's amazing, man. So I know there's people out there that probably don't listen to hip hop with that keen intention to learn, for line for line for line. I do that. But if you're somebody who's interested in that, if you really like, say like you want to read a real good book with substance, like this album, if you're serious, you take some time and you listen through to this, you know, you'll be very impressed with the outcome of it.
I was,
It to me is probably the most lyrical album on this list anyway.
it is. You talk about lyrics. This is lyrics overflow.
Yeah.
You know, even to some of the tracks like "I Play Forever" featuring Graph.
Mm,
Dope.
hard.
That's not even one of the tracks that they highlight on the album. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dope Man, great opening track. You open, with a track like that. Overcomer. Wow.
You know what's also interesting about this list, A-Level, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but probably with the exception of maybe a couple tracks that's on Nas's album, I don't think any of these albums have like hit singles or like I've heard songs from these albums on the radio.
Right. I don't know, man. I This era, I don't know if you want to call it social media, digital age, streaming music. I think it's kind of neutralized this whole hit single idea. You
This is
don't
another
necessarily
reason why I think the Grammys got it right.
yeah. You don't
These
necessarily
are albums. Take them for their body of work. Go ahead, though. I digress.
you don't really need a single to sell an album anymore. You really don't. You can do it if you want, but even so, like how I'm used to singles being sold, I mean, it's like is going into the store and buying a 12-inch single from Flipside or a maxi single from Sam Goody, you know.
Right.
But now it's like you got someone releases a single, and I'm watching these albums like Alfredo, for instance. It's a whole album full of videos. So,
Yeah.
which is a better way because people prefer now for you to actually show them or promote visuals for them, not
Mhm.
just the actual music, not just the audio, but there's a video for almost every song on this entire album
Absolutely.
because that's how people are consuming their music. They're consuming their music on YouTube now. They're consuming it on these digital platforms. So you don't necessarily need to have a record label sell. Okay, this is the single. This is the lead single, and we're gonna see if you like the album, if you buy whether how you like the single or not. No, people are deciding and choosing on their own, drawing their own conclusions. I like track number 9 on that song the best. We think that should be the single,
Yeah.
and that's the direction that the artist goes in.
That's
So
dope.
you hit it on the head. I mean, with the Grammys, this is the perfect time for Grammys to nominate these kind of albums because it's a full body of work, which is what their institution and their organization prides themselves on. Right? This is this is for the recording arts, so it's a more art filled platform where it's you're not just being recognized and honored for what the regular parameters are with regards to record sales and streaming and being popular and things of that nature. That doesn't really play in this area.
Hmm.
What plays is art, and that's
Definitely.
really what the Grammy spoke out loudly this year when it came to the best rap album category.
Absolutely. So let me just say the phone lines are open. If anyone wants to call, the number is 718-509-9305. I want to just shout out a couple things going on for Out the Box. As you can see on the screen, the website to visit is outtheboxmedia.com. That is the main portal where you can find all of the podcasts that we put out. Put out a new episode every Friday with, and most of the times it's with an artist interview. So if you're tuning into this channel here for the first time, this has been a very consistent year. We put out so many episodes. So there's so much to offer. If you go to outtheboxmedia.com and just scroll through, you'll see all of the episodes. You can also look for the shows at Out the Box Talks. So OUTDABOX Talks. And you can search for that at Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Anchor.fm. Just type in Out the Box Talks. All right. And you can find, but if you just go to this website that's up, outtheboxmedia.com, everything is there. Now, I do have a merch site. As you can see on the screen, it's outtheboxmedia.bigcartel.com. We have the snapback that I have on my head, the classic Out the Box TV snapback. One size fits all. It's a snapback. If you like it, definitely go support. It's not a lot of bread, but it helps with the movement. We also have t-shirts, hoodies, sweaters. I'm looking to put more stuff up that represents Out the Box. So you can check that website, outtheboxmedia.bigcartel.com. If anybody wants to donate, whatever you want to donate, it can be as little as $1. You can send donations to paypal.me/outtheboxmedia. All right. That's www.paypal.me/outtheboxmedia, as you see on the screen. And if you want to get access to exclusive interview clips, we have a Patreon page up, patreon.com/outtheboxmedia. I have bonus interview clips from a number of the podcasts that I did this year and from previous years with a number of artists that have exclusive audio interview clips that the public has not heard. You have to be a subscriber on the Patreon page to be able to access these interview clips, right? So you're getting exclusive interview clips that has never been released to the public. So it's another way that you can support our movement. We have been doing Out the Box for over a decade. Another thing I want to say, A-Level, is the fact that I've been getting a lot of support lately. People just telling me how much they like the interviews and how much they appreciate what I do, what we do as far as the journalism and stuff, the hip-hop journalism. So I just want to thank each and every one out there that has taken the time to express that. It means a lot after being, one of the first people on YouTube doing this type of, interview, right? Like, we were not the absolute first, but we were among the first doing the hip hop interviews from an independent standpoint, right? With no major corporate backing. We were doing this all the way back in 2008, right? So I'm grateful to still be able to do this. I'm grateful to still have you, A-Level, a part of the movement. You have been a part of this since the beginning. So we're not new to this, right? We're true to this. We've done this for quite some time. We are humble too, right? Like, I'm a very modest person, and I feel like sometimes my modest presentation has caused me to kind of fall back. As you know, A-Level, I didn't really like to be in front of the camera a lot back in the days, but I'm coming to a place now where I feel like I have something special to offer to the hip hop audience, and I know you do too as well, A-Level. And we're gonna keep on pushing this. You know what I mean? So again, we might not have a lot of followers right now, but for the few that do listen and check us out, we do appreciate you, and we're gonna keep bringing you that quality content and putting you on to hip hop that you might not be aware of, that represents quality, creativity, and consciousness.
And what we do want to say is that for the followers that we have garnered over the years and that have tagged along and even right at this time, we appreciate you. We're thankful for you. We're grateful for you. And we want to encourage you that, the best is yet to come, you know, for this movement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I guess,
I'm sorry, because
hey, like,
we do this, for you.
word,
Doesn't matter if it's 600,000 or 6 people.
indeed. And the other thing I want to say, A-Level, because we're definitely gonna do another show definitely before the end of the year, so we could look at our top albums of the year, right? I'm really excited about this. I wanted to just jump on and do a show because I felt like it's been a little while with the YouTube. I want to keep this thing going because we haven't done a YouTube show in a long time. So I want to keep this going, but we will do a best albums of the year show. A-Level will be joining, and hopefully we'll have Brother Funk Doc and Brother J Red joining that one. I think that's going to be a really fun show. If anybody out there would like for us to be on their shows, we're open to that as well. This year in particular, I'm this has been probably, like I said, the most consistent year in terms of me putting out new episodes. But also, I've been extremely consistent with finding out about dope new hip hop. And I've been diligent and deliberate about sharing that. So I don't even know how I'm gonna put together my top albums of the year list. But I have so much, and I'm so happy to be able to offer that. So definitely stay tuned for when we actually do that show, which will probably come in December, probably really soon, probably in the next 1 or 2 weeks. We'll work that out, A-Level. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I want to let the people know that what I do out the box, the focus is to put you on to creative and conscious, brand new hip hop that you might not be aware of. I say might not because maybe you are, right? But a lot of the stuff that I post on the social media sites, that's another thing. Go follow us if you can. Follow us on Instagram at Out the Box Media. We're on Facebook at Out the Box Radio and Out the Box TV, even though I post a lot more to Out the Box Radio currently, but we also post on Out the Box TV. And also on Twitter at Out the Box Media. I feel like a lot of what I do is mostly you can catch it on Instagram. So follow Out the Box Media on Instagram. Almost every day I'm posting a brand new song or a brand new album that folks might not know about, that I've taken the time to at least give it some listen, to let you know, okay, this is something that's dope. And I usually hashtag it dope release LP or dope release EP, right? So again, I cannot emphasize enough. The focus is to bring you, the viewer and the listener, new, creative, and conscious hip hop that you might not be aware of. New, creative, and conscious hip hop that you might not be aware of. And I emphasize new because a lot of these albums and EPs that I'm posting is brand new. Like they're coming out within the last week. Some albums I post that came out maybe 3 months ago, 5 months ago, but for the most part, as I find out the new albums that's coming out, I'm posting them, right? So follow us again. If you are somebody that wants to be put on to brand new hip hop and you feel like, oh man, hip hop is not giving me what I liked it to give me, right? Or you just want to be, like you just want to be in the know, right? I also say this is not for everybody. I understand that what I do is not for everybody. It's not for everybody, right? Some people are not gonna care about this, but I'm speaking to the folks out there that do care and they want to know, right? I'm doing that. I'm bringing you brand new, creative, and conscious hip hop that you might not be aware of, so that you can say that there's a platform that shares that to you. That's all I got to say.
Amen.
So A-Level, I know I said a mouthful. Before we close out, I'll ask you one last question. Do you feel like there's a record on this rap album nomination list for the Grammys that is missing that you would have liked to have seen here?
I would have liked to see "Don't Fight Your Demons" on here.
Okay.
Um,
By Arrested Development.
Arrested Development. I would have liked to see Benny the Butcher's album on here.
Nice.
Yeah. But I'm not sure if I'm leaving anything or anybody else.
That's cool.
Definitely added to that.
Absolutely. I have to really go through my full list, but off the bat, there's 2 albums I would have liked to have seen on here, but trust me, I understand why these albums are not on here. I probably would have been crazy surprised if one of these 2 albums I'm about to say would have been on this list. But the 2 albums that I consider to be like really, really, really great albums this year, that would have been crazy dope if they were on this list, would be Elzhi's 7 Times Down, 8 Times Up, and Homeboy Sandman's Don't Feed the Monster. I think those are some really, really solid releases this year. There's a number of other releases that I'm going to bring up. Obviously, I'm a huge Ka fan, and I really think Descendants of Cain is a really great album. But I'm sure there's others, but I'll just end with those. I'll say those 3 is what I would have loved. I mean, I honestly, I don't expect those albums to be on there, but I would have probably been crazy surprised, extremely surprised. But again, I'm very satisfied with these 5 albums that were nominated for Best Rap Album for the upcoming 2021 Grammy Award Day. And I think we'll look back in February. Is it January or February when the Grammys happen? One of those.
I believe in February.
Okay. So whenever it does happen, we'll look back and we'll see who wins, right? But like you said, man, whoever wins, we're happy with it. I don't know if there's been a Grammy Award where I could look at and be like, damn, I wish this person wins, and then that person never wins, and then they like, damn, they really picked this person. Like, I'm not gonna feel like this. So
I'm just saying, whoever wins is a win. And to the individuals that sat on the Grammy board this year and decided that, kudos to you.
Absolutely.
Let's continue to move in that direction. Let's not just do like Cril was saying, just a one-time thing and just go back to the usual,
Absolutely. So with that said, I think we've spent a good amount of time here. I know people are getting ready to celebrate the holidays. So if you were able to tune in tonight, thank you for tuning in. This show will remain up on the channel. So like the video if you get a chance to see this at a later point. like it, comment. That helps the video to get out there. I hope that this conversation was valuable. And if you want to hear us speak about other aspects of hip hop, definitely let us know. Me at A-Level, we stay true to the creative and quality side of hip hop. So we try to stay in that lane because it's what we're passionate about and what we enjoy. So, feel free to leave us a comment, like the video, share the video, subscribe. Subscribe. I don't get a chance to say subscribe often, but yes, subscribe to the channel. We want to be able to get more people tuning in. And hit that bell for notifications when we do go live.
Yeah, and if anyone who hasn't seen the Mike Geronimo interview on Drink Champs, you should go and watch
Yeah.
that.
I did get a chance to
That was
catch some of that.
a very good
That was
interview,
a good
bro.
interview. Yeah.
Very good interview. It gave me a whole newfound respect for that dude. I already had a reverence for him before, but just to find out that he was responsible for that much and doing that much, wow.
Mm, that's what's up. So yeah, man. I gotta go check that out, man. Now, you did tell me about it. Actually, no, I did catch it. I did catch it. I didn't watch it straight through, but it had some really, really interesting moments in that video.
Yeah, he's a sincere guy,
Yeah.
a sincere good dude, man. You could see that. You could see he has a heart. You know,
Word.
his heart is pure and genuine. And it was
Shout out to all the
like
other podcasts doing their thing out there, man. Big ups to Nori, man.
yeah,
Some
yeah.
great guests on the show, man. Dope conversation.
I'm
And
gonna just
and all the
need
other
Nori to
podcasts that's on the lower, that people might not know, man. Like, you know, big ups to y'all, man. Like, I understand the grind, man, for real. Been doing this for over 10 years, man.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna just need Nori to stay focused, though. You know what I'm saying? Let the guys finish what they gotta say.
All right. So A-Level, man, thank you again for rocking with us tonight, man. Any last things you want to say before we get out of here?
Man, just I'm thankful for you in my life. I thank you. I'm thankful for this platform. Um, Most importantly, I'm thankful for God. And I'm really in the spirit of Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, um, for life, because we don't need to have it. This thing is a gift. So
Yeah.
just be safe out there. And I know this is a different type of situation now. We never had to experience
Yeah.
being in a pandemic for the holidays, but
Yeah.
better times are ahead. I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really a Thanksgiving holiday kind of guy, but I do understand that these are times where families come together, and I guess due to COVID, people are social distancing. So if you're able to, see your family through Zoom or wherever, like, I guess do that to keep, keep safe and connected, but yeah, man. I like you said, A-Level. I really appreciate everyone who's tuned in, and listened in, um, to or viewed the show, man. Like it really means a lot, man. And we want to keep on doing this, man. And I'm thankful for you, brother, for always being, you know, um, on the ride without the box.
Always, no doubt.
All right, man. So we're gonna get up out of here. Make sure y'all check us out again, outtheboxmedia.com. You can find pretty much all of the shows, the podcasts, some of the video interviews going all the way back to when we first started doing this. So go check that website out. And again, check out the Instagram at Out the Box Media, the Facebook Out the Box Radio, and the Twitter at Out the Box Media. And till next time, I'm gonna let A-Level take us out. What we say?
What happened to peace?
Peace.
Peace, peace.